Conrad Voorsanger leads Brad Hayashi by 0.85. The scores are 9-2 to 8.35. We're about to see the women compete on their first event. Again, following the Olympic order, women start on the vault. And you are looking at Lisa Panzironi. She will execute 2 vaults. Each vault will be scored separately. The higher scores are the ones that will be used.
Lisa's been on the senior national team for 3 years, and she's been all over the world with major international events.
Tell her before she goes back on the left.
Here's her first vault. She gets 2. Nice job. That was a good vault. She was having lots of trouble in warm-up, getting onto the horse and getting a good rebound. That's the best she's done it all day. Good thing she saved it for the meet. Round off, she goes back on. Good solid push. Tremendous distance. She pulls her legs a little bit. She didn't need to do that. But because she didn't have really good confidence from the warm-up vaults, I think she thought she would have been in trouble, but she did a nice job.
She got a 9-7 for that first vault.
We move over to her second.
Lisa Panzironi competes for Parkettes. Her coach, Bill Strauss, and of course Donna Strauss, his wife, they both coach at Parkettes, but Bill is here today.
Just a little short. Still, I think her first vault was very good, and she'll be pleased with that score because she didn't get quite the solid push that she needed on her second vault. Watch what happens here. She does round off. She's onto the horse, but her arms are a little bit bent, and she's a little scrunched into the horse a little bit. And of course, if you don't really get a good tight position and a tight rebound off the horse, it's hard to force the height and the distance that you need to complete this vault.
Needless to say, the 9.7 is the score that will be used. Lisa Panzironi, 9.7. And now Elisabeth Crandall will vault. She likes to be called Liz.
Originally from
she too is very young, just 14 years of age. She's born in Sacramento, still lives there. She competes for the Desert Devils. Her coach is Stormy Eaton.
Yeah, in fact, right now she's living down in Tempe, of course, working with Stormy Eaton at the Desert Devil School. She is a very bright young girl and an exciting young gymnast. Nice job. Once again, she was having trouble in warm-ups on that same vault.
Her hand placement on that was a little too much to the board side to me.
Well, you know, she's been having all kinds of problems with the consistency. You're right. Watch what happens with her hands. She just barely gets them up onto the horse. And, of course, she does a good job at pulling the vault around. She didn't attempt to do it layout, as we just saw Panzironi do. She signaled to the judges that she was going to do this Yurchenko vault in the tucked position. And you can see she has a couple of form breaks, and she isn't quite as high as she needs to be. But she's pretty pleased because she had plenty of trouble in warm-ups. I think that was a good vault for her, and she knows it.
There you see the score, 9.625. I think she got most of her height from her thumbs. That's about all that was on top of the horse. Let's see if she can get her hand placement a little bit better.
Oh, that's a better one. Yeah. Sure. Very nice job. She relaxed on that vault, got onto the board, really in good solid position. As you mentioned, she got a good solid rebound off the horse. Good clean job. Round off, back handspring, a little bit higher placement with the hands, of course. That allowed her to keep her legs a little tighter together, better form. And of course, then she doesn't have to worry about just making it. She can start spotting the floor and concentrating on sticking the landing, not just surviving through the vault. She looked much more comfortable on that one.
And Liz Crandall received a 9.70 for her second vault. Obviously, the higher score is the one she'll carry. And now we have a deadlock score between Panzironi and Crandall. They both have 9.7. Now let's go back to the men. They are ready to compete. On the Pommel horse, Brad Hayashi's up first. Conrad Voorsanger will follow.
In order to keep this competition close, Brad is going to have to do a good job here. He really had trouble on his opening event floor where he normally scores really well. So he's going to have to pull up some ground here on an event that he isn't necessarily known to make a lot of points on. There's the single leg work. Those 2 scissors are required. He needs a little more elevation over the horse. Oh, he shouldn't have given up there. He was doing fine.
Maybe that's being 17.
Well, certainly that's one of the things we're able to witness here is that these kids are young and they have bright futures ahead of them. And it's tough. When I was 17, I made all kinds of mistakes on simpler elements. He got away with some of the tougher skills in the early part of the routine, but he picked up into a move called a Moore, which is very basic. And he had trouble. It looked like he knew he was going to have to scramble through that routine from the first part, and it was like he was waiting for, okay, when are the problems going to happen?
Brad Hayashi was already 0.85 in the hole going into this rotation.
Yeah, he was in really low. Looks like he had his hand placement such that he was going to do a move actually called a Bailey, but he got leaning way over the front of the horse, and it takes a lot of fight to be able to stay on there. He will do better on Pommel horse in the future, I'm sure.
Back in 1981, ESPN televised the first U.S. challenge. Of course, then it was called single elimination. These names should sound very familiar to you. Scott Johnson, Jim Hartung, Tim Daggett, Phil Cahoy, Peter Vidmar. These are all gymnasts who competed in this single elimination format. Now you see the score for Brad Hayashi, 8.30. Of course, all those gymnasts went on to become Olympians for the United States. So when you look at these young men, think 1992. This is the pool of talent from which the U.S. will draw. Conrad Voorsanger.
Really nice mount as he does flares and travels across the horse and back down. This is a good exercise so far. He's very quick. That's a good combination. A handstand down to a scissor full turn. Although he's a little rushed, he has a very aggressive style, which is impressive. A few minor form deductions. Good clean dismount.
Conrad Voorsanger competes for Stanford University. Just came off the Pac-10 championships, and he finished for Stanford. They finished very close in the team competition, just behind UCLA.
This is good work. He does flares, and you can see without using the pommels, he's traveled all the way across the horse, turns back around, and this time with the pommels, travels back to the other end. He's very comfortable in the flared position. You can see spreads those legs, cranks it up to a handstand, does a full pirouette, and dismounts through the middle. Nice ending.
Conrad Voorsanger gets a 9.65, easily defeating Brad Hayashi in the Pommel horse event. We'll be back with more in just a moment.